In this quick video, I will give you a rundown of the process and different steps we did to create this one, and also then give you 2 tips why, for example, this type of a design is better solved in a program like here, like Blender, because we can bend stuff and then bring stuff over into Fusion where we can then trim and fillet everything. So as you can see, top view and front view, I have my images positioned and scaled correctly. And let's go to the first layer, top view and side view. This is basically what I have. So I started at the beginning with a cube and then step by step extruded and scaled all these parts till, for example, from the top, I kind of started to capture the shape I want. Okay. Then in the second step, for example, you can see I scaled all these points down to be flat so they line up nicely. Okay. And then step 3, I extruded parts in. Now for those who are not aware of it, when you have something selected, you can use the face and inset command. So it's important that you have the faces selected, press I, and then you can see you can kind of like create an offset, but it's inside the faces. Like this, and then E, and then we can move these parts down. Okay. Maybe a little bit more, and we then go into a section view with Alt B. We can see maybe where we start running into some issues, like here, this has to go maybe to there and there, so it's more parallel. Can actually create another loop cut there at the center, move this down, so it actually arcs a little bit nicer. Okay. Alt B and Alt B. How does this look? This also looks pretty good. I actually afterwards don't like this one, so I will take this one out again. Okay, so that's basically the way how I created the depression. And then you see from the side, I started sculpting the handle, rotated, direct modeling everything. But the problem is, if I want then later to rotate the handle, I have to select everything correctly, position correctly my rotation center, switch to 3D cursor so I can rotate it. And that's not necessarily very comfortable or elegant. So what's a different way to do this? Well, I can actually break the tip and the handle up into individual objects. Because this has the advantage with my handle being an object, I can just rotate it. And then when I go into edit mode, I can make use of local space. So it's pretty functional. And then if I want to fuse these two together, I could Shift D, make a copy, U and U selected, Control J, join together, and in an edit mode, I could select this face and remove it, and then say this opening and this opening bridge together. There we are. Was pretty easy. This way I can make a nice handle that is straight and then join it with the tip. But the problem is if a client comes and says, well, I would like to rotate the handle 2 degrees, we end up exactly with the same direct modeling problem. So what else can we do? Well, I could, for example, still build everything separately if I want to, like this. You see, there's my handle, there is this other part, and then U and U I join together. Also then there I do the same with the bridge. I think I have an interface. Do I have an interface? No, I do not. Okay, perfect. So I can bridge from a face to an open face. And you see I have the object center point there. So cursor to selected, there you see the object center point. And at the same position, I created a spline, and the spline has two nodes. The first node is actually Shift S selection to cursor, snap to it, and AA, they are all set to vector, because if I select maybe this line and move it out, and then I move it up, you see this maintains being a nice line. And then if I go to here, layer 10, there you can see that I started to actually simply deform everything with the spline. Now I could go ahead and say, well, maybe this should be an arc and this should be an arc. I can just quickly explore different ideas via deforming it. Or I keep it as a line and, for example, say, well, maybe it should be like this, which makes no sense, but you get the idea. So instead of direct modeling the orientation, I calculate orientation. And the advantage of this thing approach is when I go into edit mode for the mesh, I can turn the mesh on. You see now it's wrapped over the bend, and then I could say project the control points there. So now when I go ahead and select maybe all these, I can scale them up and down, and you see they actually go even there along local space, the way how it looks, but it's not really local space, because this is actually just a preview, because the mesh is still horizontal. So you see, it's actually pretty easy, and we know all we want to bring over to Fusion later is the deformed polygon mesh, because that then we can load into Fusion T-spline and convert it into a beautiful NURBS geometry where everything is nicely deformed. So quick repeat about how to make the holes. So this is an ellipse. This is actually very easy. Shift S, cursor to center, top view. Let's make a square. Scale this down. This whole object, not the mesh, I move over. So you see I switch between edit and object mode a lot. There, and there, and there. Let's subd this. Okay. Let's bring this one to there. And I try to line it up and rotate it. Okay. Then I can move this one down. E, escape, move this one to there. Delete that face and delete this face. And there we are. Boolean difference. This one. Okay. Perfect. And maybe here, optimal display. Great. So that was pretty easy. Let's take a look at the top one. There's a nifty little trick we can use. We do not start with a plane, because essentially this is a box with two arcs. So let's do that. Circle, T, let's go to this one, 32, 2.5 millimeters. The whole object I move over. Then in edit mode, I move this one up. We can select half of it, press Y to split, or mesh vertices, yeah, split. And we can move this one to there. So we don't do any scaling, we simply move it. Tuck, tuck, F, U and U, F, AA, down, E and Z, down, AA, Control N to fix all the normals. Then mirror modifier along Y, and then maybe a copy. Nope. Select this one, and there we are. In case there are some issues with the result, set this to 0, and most times that will work. Okay. But this is currently a very geometrical mesh. It's not really nice and smooth. If we soften this one, we get kind of like soft sides. And that is not really what I want. So what I will do is Control R, maybe 3, 0 and enter, Control R on this, 3, enter, 0 and enter. And here, these points, I will scale way closer to there. So then this way I will actually stabilize these surfaces a little bit better. There you can see, now this looks nicer. Okay, perfect. So also for here, when we bring this over, as a reminder, there we want the mirror command on. Here we want nothing on because it's a plain object, and here we want all this off, and we only want the curve command on. And that's basically how to build this the spoon in a nutshell pretty fast in Fusion. Sorry, I meant Blender, and then bring it over and finish it in Fusion, because like these fillets we can't really do. Same like here, these are sharp edges, but all the rest you see we can very quickly generate here and then finish it and assemble it in Fusion.